Tanzania, 1987. The search is on for the African queens. Brother Adam is heading for Kilimanjaro. In 90 years, his first foray into tropical Africa. It could all be an expensive wild goose chase, for the honeybee Brother Adam seeks has never been satisfactorily identified. Classified Apis mellifera monticola, it's thought to inhabit the slopes of Kilimanjaro.
In my opinion, I don't believe pure monticola is existing. This is because we have swamps going from the mountains to the lowlands, and certainly bees must be breeding. So I cannot ascertain that a pure monticola exists, and if it is to ascertain, more research is required.
But academic investigation is not Brother Adam's mission. His sojourn is strictly pragmatic, like a 19th century horticulturalist collecting plants in China or South America. He's in Africa simply to discover whether monticola or any bee like it exists. If it does, then he'll ship some queens back to England for experiment. They'll be crossed with the world-famous Buckfast strain, which he's bred over 70 years at his monastery in Devon. Even his super bee might benefit from some monticola genes. To this end, Brother Adam has assembled his expedition. There's Rosalind Fehrenbach, a medical doctor from Germany, whom Brother Adam has known since she was a child. Her father, Franz, with the cap, and the Dutchman, Michael van der Zee, both bee breeders. And from Devon in England, Leslie Bill, and bee disease inspector Wally Davey.
How many shillings?
300.
Ah, you're expensive. Huh? 175. A deal? 175.
Before Kilimanjaro, the expedition will search here, on Mount Meru. But first, a little education at the government's beekeeping centre in Arusha. Brother Adam is the guest of director Hassan.
The combs have been built across. And as you see here, yes, we have this one. It's very black. It's black and it's different, yes, from the rest of the other. That's why I think that I thought it's better for you to see the hives in the lowland. Yes. And when you see the bees in the upland, you can identify the difference.
Reputedly, monticola is black, unlike the aggressive lowland bee, which is yellow.
What color are the queens? Are they yellow or black?
It might be yellow or black, because we see different.
That's a good one.
It's a good comb.
It's a good form, actually. Nice form.
The colony is mixed, yellow and black. Michael van der Zee makes a find.
Oh, I've got the queen here, Brother Adam.
Yes. I can see the markings now. She has got the, like the Oriental, Middle East bees. She has got the black rings.
And can you see the drone?
Yes, the drones are black.
Very black.
Yeah, very black. I mean, I got heartless stung. And I was surprised how they're undoubtedly aggressive, but not as aggressive as some of the bees some of the bees I've seen in other parts of the world.
And now to the mountain.
Bruder Adam, jetzt müssen Sie aussteigen. Jetzt geht's in die Büsche.
Ja, sind wir endlich angekommen, wo wir die Monticola finden.
But Brother Adam has had a mishap.
So, da haben wir für Sie extra einen Sessel.
Yeah.
At the hotel, he'd fallen and badly cut the back of his head. Nothing was broken, but he'd collapsed at hospital after a local anaesthetic. It was some hours before he'd recovered sufficiently for the wound to be stitched, but Brother Adam had insisted the expedition continue, hence the chair. Please complain if you don't feel like the Pope, jokes Fehrenbach. The bearers are at 2,500 meters on Mount Meru. According to the German entomologist Friedrich Rutner, the Monticola type should be found on Mount Meru and Kilimanjaro from this altitude upwards. Rutner had collected specimens from this very spot. And there, says Fehrenbach, is beekeeping from the Middle Ages, the suspended log hives traditional to this part of Africa. Some help to focus his pre-war exacta camera. Today is for observation only, as Brother Adam regains his strength. Bees are certainly using the hive. Whether his picture is of a Monticola colony cannot be determined, but Brother Adam is satisfied. He's seen for himself the remoteness of the hives and how difficult they'll be to reach. Tomorrow he'll go higher on the mountain with the beekeeper whose logs they are. Next morning, at 3,000 meters, the vehicles are dismissed.
There was Dr. Smith, and he gave a lecture in Madrid. And that's where I heard first of the Monticola. It made a very big impression, but I cannot remember details. He merely said that it was black and that it was a good temperature.
After a trek of 5 kilometers, the guide makes a slightly wishful announcement.
Here is the Monticola, gentlemen.
Ah, sind auch Bienen drin?
Ja.
Siehst du welche fliegen?
The hive is occupied, but Brother Adam cannot see.
Ja,
Doch,
kunnen ze
vorne.
goed zien?
Da ist das Flugloch. Da vorne.
I'm fine.
Wo der Schlitz ist.
And so, to catch a queen. Old John, the beekeeper, must climb the tree to let down the hive. And since no one knows the disposition of the bees, protective suits are de rigueur.
Jetzt kommt er nicht.
Können Sie vielleicht?
Yes, I'll put my veil.
Das Ding
Even Brother Adam, who's never donned a bee suit in his life, agrees to wear a veil. Less than 48 hours after his accident, he's bearing up well for a man in his 90th year.
Darf ich helfen?
Log hives are kept in trees to protect them from marauders like honey badgers. If you can't climb trees, you can't keep bees. The hive has to be unhooked from its branch and lowered by rope.
Lila funga. Hai.
Akia ige chini kidogo. Slow, slow, slow. Akiti. Njoo leo. Njoo leo. Yango. Akiti. Tala. Ndagwenda kaina anda. Nda utala. Tala katari. Miriam munore doi.
Precautionary smoke to subdue the nervous bees. Fehrenbach prepares for the worst.
Okay. Kannst du das Seil nicht locker lassen?
Can you leave the rope a bit?
Seil locker lassen?
Yes, more. You'll carry it.
Hip.
Ich habe es. Es geht.
Schwer.
Jetzt ein bisschen rauf. Den
Ja.
Schluss kriegt.
Fast right inside.
Careful, it's all right.
Meanwhile, bees, which were foraging when the hive was removed, are returning. They're attacking old John. He needs the smoker fast.
You've got it. So we should
Turn
push
it
upwards.
turn
Yes.
that way.
Yes.
Slowly.
With the securing wires removed, the moment of truth.
So, jetzt schön umlegen.
Umlegen.
So um.
Vorsicht.
Oh, das ist ein starkes Volk.
Ja.
Oh. Schönes Volk.
Schön, ja.
Oh, das ist
Fabelhaft.
gar nicht böse. Die sind ja gar nicht böse.
It's a strong and beautiful colony, wonderfully docile.
Jetzt vorsichtig raus.
Ja.
Gucken wir gleich, ob sie aber lieber abhauen soll.
Haben Sie die Wabe?
Ja, ich hab sie.
The brood comb is especially healthy.
Wunderbare Brot. Gucken Sie mal, wie gesund. Eine schöne, helle Königin.
A fleeting glimpse of a superb queen. She's very big.
Ja. Du, jetzt lege ich die wieder rüber
Ja.
und dann guckst du.
Ja.
Da haben wir sie, eine wunderschöne Königin.
Fehrenbach has her. Marvelous, he says. A brown queen. Get her in the cage, says Brother Adam.
So, jetzt müssen wir noch ein paar Bienen haben.
And that's how she'll travel to Europe, in a balsa wood container with 10 workers to feed her candy.
Ab mit dir. Nein, ich muss sie selber machen.
No, he will do them himself. That's easier.
The bees are dark and docile, but are they Monticola? And most importantly, will their undoubted ability to resist chilly nights up here on Mount Meru make them good overwinterers in northern climes? It's this quality which really interests Brother Adam. Next day, to the heat and humidity of the lowlands, 150 kilometers across country to Magugu. Fish farming, molasses, and seed growing. This is the Marios estate, whose latest commercial venture is honey, produced from the fierce yellow bee of Africa, Apis mellifera scutellata. Brother Adam has been invited by the estate's managing director, Zuhir Karimji, to inspect a hive and take a queen. Van der Zee gets the queen, but already the party is under bombardment.
Get a comb out, please.
It's a matter of grabbing 10 workers and running. They're stinging his hands. Bees from all over the apiary are joining the attack. Protective suits and no defense. More from politeness than good sense, the visitors persist.
That's 5, huh? 4. One's 10.
Scutellata is for the beekeeping brave.
Here we grow.
The temperature is 35 degrees Celsius, and Brother Adam is still in a three-piece suit. The bees have chased him half a kilometre, and despite the best attentions of Mr. Karimji plus homegrown fish and chips for lunch, the truth must be told.
How did you like our bees?
Well, of course, they are
Behavior.
extremely aggressive. And it's the first time I have been, well, in North Africa, and well, I've been dealing with some of the West Temper bees, but those here surpass all the experience I've previously had.
Nice.
and their aggressiveness.
The lowlands have nothing to offer, so it's to Africa's greatest mountain, Kilimanjaro. At about 2,000 meters, a charming encounter on Kilimanjaro's western slopes. Brother Adam and the Fehrenbachs have discovered a tiny Catholic church at the village of Simba. It's a timely interlude for reflection because the expedition is taking its toll. Since he began his great journeys in 1950, Brother Adam is having to admit for the first time that perhaps he's mortal. Africa is a tough nut. Young Dr. Fehrenbach has strongly advised him to let the others do the hunting. Reluctantly, he accedes. The decision will have repercussions, but for the time being, the expedition has a single objective: Monticola or bust. The hunters are to climb to 3,000 meters in virgin forest where lion and buffalo roam. In there, according to Ruckner and Smith, should be found the elusive black bee. The docility of Monticola is thought to be due to its isolation on the mountains, where it's been largely left alone by man. Ruckner and Smith had not only reported it here, but on Mount Meru and Mount Kenya. The yellow scutellata, on the other hand, had always been plundered in the lowlands. To survive, it had evolved a ferocious temperament and an inclination to swarm at a moment's notice. At this altitude, it's not clear how much the black and yellow races have interbred. The task, however, is to find the black queens described by Ruckner and Smith.
Michael? Yes, of course there are some more hives.
Yes, I know that.
So you can inspect this.
Just inspect and see how they are, and if it isn't quite what we're looking for, we'll go to the next.
All right.
Dry grass and elephant dung fuel the smoker. The beekeepers of Kilimanjaro.
Can you open this on this side?
Yes.
The hive has a convenient peephole.
Right, careful, smoke. Smoke them first. Ah, there they are.
But the bees are disappointingly yellow.
Yes. They're quite nice. Frans, was glaubt?
Van der Zee seeks advice.
Ja, die Frage ist, ob die
The question, says Fehrenbach, is whether Monticola should have any yellow or be entirely black as described. So far, we haven't found a pure dark bee. Perhaps we should climb higher to where the forest gives way to open country.
Vegetationsgrenze.
Right. We will just close this hive and keep it in mind, but it isn't quite what we're looking for.
But this one is.
Turn it over. That's right. Careful, we don't want the combs. There's plenty of brood, they're very strong. We'll put this up close.
The first reasonably dark colony of the 3-day hunt on Kilimanjaro.
If a few people watch that end for the queen, we'll start taking the combs out on this end. No, she isn't here yet. Ah, there she is.
Jetzt.
Fehrenbach cuts one of the queen's wings to stop her flying in case of accident at either end of her shipment to Europe.
These are predominantly black, and they must have migrated from the hills downwards in times where it was difficult and cold up there. So it isn't actually the same type as we've predominantly found around this area. So that makes it a quite isolated case. They're very gentle. They were a bit on the touchy side defending their hive, which is actually good. But actually after we opened them, they've been quite docile.
The Europeans are becoming increasingly deft at lowering the hives.
Careful, careful, careful.
Van der Zee and Fehrenbach are in the bow.
Ja.
The English pair, Wally Davy and Leslie Bill, are at the receiving end.
Langsam runter. Ja.
Bring it down. Bring it down. Right, bring it down.
Bring it down.
Anybody help me?
Yes, I'm underneath.
Yeah, let it down.
Ja.
Let it go.
Yeah. Come on.
Somebody to help.
Ja,
Somebody to help. Yeah, we try.
Gut, gut, gut.
Leave it.
Langsam, langsam. Jawohl, auf der Bugel nehmen.
We got it. Come on. I got it. Right.
Okay.
Take it off me now. Where are you going? Good.
That went all right, didn't it?
Smart. Oh, it's only a big colony.
That's a good colony.
Wieder eine schwarze.
Yeah. Whoa, whoa.
Ist Königin da?
No queen on the top side. They've got
Ist ein
a
kleines.
nice compact brood. I don't see any eggs in this comb at the moment.
Ist ein kleines Vögel.
It's a small colony, actually. You can see where all the broods emerged. I'm just checking this open brood here, so we're getting close to where the queen has been laying. There she is. She's a very dark queen.
Ja, das ist eine dunkle Königin.
Yes, says Fehrenbach, she's dark. The workers are dark too. From what we're told, this should be the Monticola.
Ja, die Monticola sein. Nach allem, was wir wissen.
Everyone agrees. This queen is the best and from the most regular colony yet, blacker than some of the earlier finds. Brother Adam should like the dark bees she spawns.
They're much more uniform overall. They're very quiet. There are one or two here that have slightly lighter coloration with the orange bands and the black tip. And they're a little larger, so I think on the whole he ought to be very pleased with this particular strain.
Altogether, the expedition has secured 7 dark queens from the mountains, 3 of them today. But Leslie Bill is unhappy. She wants to spend longer on Kilimanjaro, opening more hives, taking a bigger population sample. Van der Zee and Fehrenbach feel this isn't really Brother Adam's purpose, but they'll let him decide. Brother Adam awaits anxiously.
Aber vorsichtig, gell? Erst wenn sie da sind.
We've made it, says Fehrenbach.
Das haben sie lange warten müssen.
Ah, we have got your queens with us.
How are you, brother?
Ja, war prima.
Very good news for you.
Es hat erst Schwierigkeiten gegeben. Ja. Die Imker haben uns nichts von.
But where's the English contingent, asks Brother Adam.
They're there, Brother Adam. They're coming up behind.